Hey, friends, it is Samara, and I am so excited to be joining the scrap room. I'm going to be using this adorable kit from We Are Makers by Paige Evans called Happy Haven. And it comes with these three papers. I absolutely love them. They are absolutely adorable. So those are the three papers, the A sides and the B sides, and then an assortment of embellishments. Those flowers are so gorgeous. I'm also going to be adding some of the papers from the paper kit. And finally, I'm going to be adding some of the stickers from the embellishment kit. I'm a sucker for extra papers and embellishments. And then finally, I have this super cute picture of my daughter when she was 3 years old. Look at those shoes, all mismatched. All right, so let's start creating this layout. I am such a sucker for a white base page. This particular kit comes with white cardstock. So I'm cutting that out to 12 by 12. And I do apologize, my trimmer was not really in the right spot, but that's okay. The first thing I'm going to do is trim down this blue floral paper to 11 and a half by 4. So just want a nice little strip down the side. You'll notice a lot of my layouts have this kind of strip down the side. I just love the burst of color and interest it adds. So we'll go ahead and position that in there like so. Just trying everything out kind of in a dry run here. I'm not gluing anything down, just testing out some additional papers and such. So here I decide to go ahead and match my photo using this lighter blue floral paper. And you will not see the details of the flowers in my trim here, but it does add a nice little contrast from the white paper as well as the dark blue paper. Pesky little trimmer. Have to trim that out just a little bit more. All right. So the next thing I'm going to be looking at is I want to add a little bit more detail and contrast to one edge of that darker blue paper. So I'm just going to trim this out to 12 inches, and I'm going to cut out a little strip. This is, I think, 3/4 of an inch. And I'm just going to tuck this right behind that blue strip once I finally get it measured to the correct size. I don't know why that took me so long to figure it out. I don't know, maybe out of practice. In hindsight, I wish I had added a little bit more color behind that strip just for it to stand out a little bit more. So here I wanted to add another, I guess not little, bigger piece of pattern paper, just again for some more interest. I cut this to be 6 by 6, and I'm just going to place it behind my photo. And I debated here in bordering that in that pink, but it was just too much pattern going on. But what I did decide to do is cut a little banner, and this measures 3 by 4, I believe. Maybe 2 by 4, I apologize. And I decided I'm going to add that to the bottom of my photo, and I'm going to cut a little banner. So right down the middle, I just measure out 1 inch on each side, run my blade up a little bit, and just notch it. I'll take my scissors and just cut that fishtail. It adds a little bit of detail, again, some just contrast between the big pattern paper there and the photo. All right, taking my adhesive And just now I'm starting to put everything down into place. Like I said, in hindsight, I wish I had added a little bit more color with either some ink or some spray or something. I think it would have been a nice touch. All right, putting down this floral paper, kind of dry fitting it there and positioning it into place. So one thing I'll notice is that my daughter kind of bisects that line of that blue paper. So just right down the middle, it adds just some visual interest there, makes it look very intentional. So again, bringing that, that pink fishtail tag down there at the bottom. And then now I'm gonna hit up my embellishments, and I love embellishments so much. So here we go. I loved that blue flower cluster. That pink one is super cute. And I just kind of go through my embellishments, just trying out various things. I remember I watched this scrapbooker once and she referred to it as auditioning her embellishments. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of putting things down and seeing, do I like them? Do I not? So I start to make just piles of things. So you'll notice I shook my finger at the buttons tag there. I have almost a phobia of buttons, and so I was like, no way, I'm not using that button embellishment. Not happening. My friends tease me about it all the time. I loved this little tag here. It says love you. It's super cute. And I'm trying to figure out where I want to put that. And I go ahead and I add my adhesive, and you're going to see that I pick it up because I'm like, oh no, it's in the wrong spot. So I'm going to pull out my foam tape that I actually won at a ScrapRoom crop a couple years ago. So I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to add some foam. I generally use just one layer of foam. Two is just too much bulk for my actual books, but I am going to use a lot of this foam. So on this large floral piece, we'll go ahead and slot that in there. And then I really liked that blue floral embellishment kind of hanging down from it. It almost reminds me of like a wedding bouquet. But I love that blue. It kind of plays off the my daughter's shirt. So I'm just going to slide that underneath there. And I actually put my adhesive all the way down on that except for the bottom flower. So just the bottom flower is picked up a little bit. So now we're going to see, where are we going to put this tag, this love you tag? That is the question. So you'll see it come back in just a minute here. I do like to do my clusters in threes. So I'm making my visual triangle there by putting that large pink flower up towards the top. And then I'm going to try out that blue tag again. I'm telling you, this blue tag gave me a run for my money. I'm going to put it down, and then you're going to see I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to move it. So I thought I wanted it there. And then I was like, nope, that's not going to work. So continuing to audition more pieces there. Unfortunately, I hadn't like really stuck that down because I ended up moving it. All right, so we're going to add this more of a lavender flower to the corner of that I don't know, tag, banner, whatever you want to call it. Again, reinforcing that visual triangle. If you really look at where that visual triangle, like where the lines go through, it goes through right through my daughter's face, which helps to determine that as a focal point. So adding in some more greenery, and now I'm going to hit up the stickers. So with the stickers, I struggled, and I ended up seeing that little bee, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so cute. So as I put the little bee down, I was thinking it would be really neat to have to have like a little bee trail coming out. So you'll see how I'm going to address that in just a minute. I love that little banner. That banner says, give me one second, it says, these are the moments. And what I love about this photo is my daughter is wearing this adorable little floral tank top. She's got one of her little princess purses, and then she has mismatched princess shoes. She has Snow White shoes and Aurora shoes. So, too funny. I went ahead and used my glue as my little bee trail, and then I took my baker's twine that's in a hot pink, and I'm just putting that down on the glue. The glue will dry clear, which is really nice. And I'm just making this little bee trail. And then my scissors, I don't know what was going on, but it did not want to cut through that twine. I was trying so hard. And then I was thinking, okay, well, I have my twine up there. Let's add it in at least one, if not two more spots, just again for some extra details, some more just spreading the wealth there. So I made a little bow, and I'm going to attach that to the floral cluster at the bottom of the page. Tried it out in a couple different spots, then decide just go ahead and add that glue. Get it on there, baby. I do like to glue down the ends just so it doesn't lift up when it's in my book or untie or anything like that. I found this cute little tag, and it's not very big, so I just wrote the very basic details on there. So my daughter's name, Annika, and the year 2006-ish, and she was 3 years old. I was able to figure that out because I was like, that is the first house we lived in. I could tell by the lawn there. So I put that tag in there, and I'm not completely satisfied, so I'm kind of moving it around, testing it around in a couple different spots, and then I decide, okay, let's add more twine. When all else fails, add more twine. And you guys are going to see me struggle with this twine. I don't know what was going on, but man, struggle bus. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, so we're just going to wrap it up. We're finally going to put this piece down because, quite honestly, we're just going to drop it in. I don't know why it's taking me so long just to put it down. All right, and here we are. We are finished. And here we go. So enjoy these little stills.